Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll open the floor up to citizens' comments. Any citizens wishing to speak? Any citizens wishing to speak? Hi, guys. Any citizens wishing to speak? Seeing none? Okay. Roll call of supervisors. I just changed the agenda. Roll call, please. If I could have those. Okay, we have Supervisor Kubicki is excused, Supervisor Decker, Supervisors Esposito and Bruning. Does that match? Yes, it does. Okay. This time, since we have had a new visitor come in, any citizens' comments?
Good evening. I'm Louis Regani, 4526 29th Avenue, Kenosha. This is old business, but I thought it'd come up one more time since it's in the news. The situation not involving the county so much because it's got to do with bus service to Walmart in Summers. But then again, it does involve you because the county's already providing bus service to Walmart. Only not in Summers, it's providing it to Illinois and to Walworth County. And I thought I'd come back again because I don't believe anything has changed since I addressed this last time. But since it's a hot topic apparently, a little bit of history, and I think you already have copies, or at least you should have. If anybody else needs one, I'll be glad to provide it. But it was the same thing I gave you with a map of the system as originated in September 2007, your Kenosha County Department of Human Services, Western Kenosha County Transit. The situation is you're providing transit to Walworth County and to Antioch, Illinois, and Lake County. And you're charging the city of Kenosha and the county of Kenosha on your property tax levies in order to do that. The reason the city bus service doesn't go to Summers is because it's a Kenosha bus service. The same reason that if Summers Fire Department was asked to come to Kenosha for regular fire services, I think they'd have something to object about. I'm sure they wouldn't mind during an emergency, but on a regular basis, they say, stick with your own fire department, and that'd be rightfully so. But in this case, I've got this from, and I looked for this for a while, it was buried. This is from March 2011, Kenosha County Transit Development Plan 2012-2016, courtesy of the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, at the request of the city and county of Kenosha. Now, I'll just quote this paragraph that I had quoted earlier. Annual operating expenses for WKCT service were about $605,000 in 2010. Of that, about $38,000, about 6% came from Kenosha County tax levy. So you see, you're already providing service to Walmart, only it's in Illinois and in Walworth County. I'm sure they're grateful, and I don't think you're going to hear them complain any more than we complain about Metra coming to Kenosha, which is paid for by Illinois taxpayers. But that's okay. We're not complaining about that any more than Walworth or Antioch's complaining about driving people from Kenosha to Antioch or to Lake Geneva. I was downtown Lake Geneva, and I saw a WKCT bus parked right there by the river. I mean, by the Lake Geneva, by Geneva Lake. I guess in the city is Lake Geneva, the water is Geneva Lake. I was corrected on that. If the county wishes to keep its levy contribution constant, a reduction in service is likely. But the point is, we're paying $38,000, which is not going to break anybody's bank. But the point is, we are paying to take Kenosha County money into Illinois. We're paying for the privilege, and we're paying for the privilege to take Kenosha County shoppers from Southport Plaza to Illinois to shop, lay over, and then drop them off back at Southport Plaza again at night. I wouldn't mind so much personally, speaking for myself only, if we originated in Lake Geneva and in Antioch, Illinois, dropped them off at Southport, or more preferably down here, and then drive them back at night. Now, that would be all right to serve Antioch, Illinois, Lake County, and Walworth in my book. Does downtown need more shoppers? Downtown Kenosha, that is. We're definitely serving Lake Geneva's economic advantages and Antioch, Illinois. And when I talked to one of the directors, it might have been the director, I never knew that structure over there at Western Kenosha County Transit, that I told them county tax levy is going into the service. The lady vehemently denied it. And I couldn't argue because I didn't have this then, but I do now, and so do you, since I gave you all copies at some time. I'll say one more time, as a citizen, I request that you discontinue driving people all day long to Illinois and to Walworth County. And if you're going to do that, please reverse the process and drive them from Illinois and originate there and into downtown Kenosha. And if you won't do that, at least cover Walmart in Kenosha County. Not that I have any stock in Walmart, but what's right is right. That's my point. I won't be back on that anymore. I'll leave it up to your final judgment, and I'm sure it'll be a good one. Thank you for all you do for the county.
Thank you, sir. Seeing nobody else, we will move on to announcements of the chair. I just wanted to let you know that joint services, the RFPs have went out for the software. We should be hearing back in the next few weeks on the responses for that, so I will keep you posted on that. Also, we did go down to Chicago with the crew for the bond meeting. The presentations were very good, very upbeat and positive. We'll see what they do with the ratings. We asked to have a response by August 16th, I believe, because we're going out to bid at that point. So by the next county board meeting, we'll know what Moody's and Standard & Poor have done. So we will keep you apprised of that as well. We'll move on at this point to Supervisor Reports. Supervisor Elverman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple brief items from Highway, Parks, Golf, and Facilities. Recently, within the last 10 days, our civil engineer began at the Highway Department. Now, that is going to be a position that covers the whole division, which will be also eventually planning and development. It's a position that we passed in our last budget, and is going to make it easier for a pass-through as far as work in all of our divisions in that venue. The update on the 60th Street Tower, I know everybody's been breathlessly waiting to see what's happening on that. And recently, the DNR passed their assessment. August 19th, it will go to the federal government, and we expect an approval by August 30th. At that point, we expect the city then to agree to the construction beginning, and what we learned last night from our people that have been on hold for almost a year, that they are working their schedules, and they do believe that we can still have that tower up by about the second week in December. And our biggest concern has been the icing season. The heaviest icing season is past that point, so we think we'll be okay for this year. And again, if everything goes as planned, and people have been told we should be all right with that. The Kenosha County Administration Building where we're sitting, the waterproofing is something that we've been talking about. And a lot of what we okayed in budgets for construction here was based on what the city was going to do. For the main drag here on, I forget the streets and things here, but their bids came in over cost. So right now, the city is on hold on doing in front of our administration building. Nothing is going to occur there. So our bids are also on hold, or our construction is on hold. It's based on having that street opened up, or otherwise our costs go skyrocketing. So at this point, nothing is going to happen for the waterproofing on this building until the city decides what they're going to do. And it looks like they're doing nothing on the street in front of the building. The Yule House, we had at one point last spring put it out to bids for looking for realtors, and that process drew no one. Last night at our meeting, we requested the purchasing department to redo that process. We have a open time period for that. I mean, there's been no time period put on the purchasing department, and we told them to just go ahead and redo it, and that's where we are on the Yule House. On Mary Higgins Frost Building, as you pulled up here, you probably saw it's down, and that will be cleaned up in the next 2 days. And what's going to occur on that piece of property, since that has part to do with our waterproofing, for the meantime, the company that's doing the tearing down is going to be installing grass there. Just planting grass. The debris is going to be picked up. Grass will be planted until we decide what we're doing with the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Alverman. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Supervisor Alverman, another long-standing project that I'd never heard of was completely put to rest was the parking structure to our north and a little bit east of here. Is that finally, can you update us on if we're all done with that or what's going on, please?
Yeah, at the last meeting I reported that that's all, it's open.
Finished.
Everything's finished.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Anita Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to give everybody a quick update on the Small Business Initiative meeting that we had. It was on July 22nd, and it went very, very well. It was very apparent that we did a great job choosing the members. The conversation made that very apparent. We have a blend of, we have an intern from Carthage who will be able to provide us all the statistics we need. We have professors from Parkside who are going to provide us an incredible wealth of knowledge from the Small Business Center there about just all different kinds of things available to small businesses in our areas that they have no idea that are available to them. We have a small business owner who has a background very heavy in marketing who's going to help us quite a bit as we move forward. CABA members, we have the Chamber of Commerce on there, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Oh, yes, of course, then we have a few supervisors as well. But just a high-level overview. The initiative was created so that we could assess and hopefully better accommodate the needs of small business in the area and see how we can be better advocates as the county. Just a high-level overview of what we're going to do is, first we're going to start by defining who we're going to try to target. So we're going to define small business. We've chosen to use HUD's definition for both small business and micro enterprises. Once we do that, We want to have our stats person get us numbers about the numbers of businesses in town, in the county, that actually meet those definitions. And then we're going to conduct surveys, and through other ways as well, to get information. We just want to glean information about all the obstacles these businesses have met when they're starting up, when they're trying to expand, or even when they're just trying to exist. And we're also going to be asking supervisors, probably in the next month or so, if they would get involved and hopefully approach businesses within their districts to get some information from them. I know we all love to talk to people in our districts, so hopefully everybody will be willing to get involved with that. Once we move on from there, we're also going to be looking at other initiatives started in other counties. Hopefully we'll get some lessons learned from them about their successes and failures, compare them to how feasible they would be to be implemented here in Kenosha County. In the end, we're going to provide a report to the executive committee with all our findings and recommendations for things that we can do. Of course, we'll keep them cost effective, and of course the return will be huge on anything that we do. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 26th of August. It's Monday. I believe it's the fourth Monday of August. And everyone's welcome to attend. Monday, the 26th of August? Oh, I'm sorry, 6:30. Just let me know if you want to go, and I'll actually forward the meeting invite to you so you can put it on your calendar.
Thank you, Supervisor Johnson. Supervisor Hallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of notes. First of all, I want to remind my fellow supervisors there is a resolution that you can sign in the clerk's office asking the U.S. Congress to input the formula for the Voting Rights Act that the U.S. Supreme Court directed them to do. Feel free to sign on to that. Take a look at it if you're curious. If you have questions, feel free to see me. Secondly, the update for the county board regarding NACO will happen at the next executive committee meeting, which I believe is next Tuesday. There's two particular interesting things that I'm going to talk about as part of that. One of them is a presentation that was given on what does the county that leads innovation in the 21st century look like, and the other is going to be about libraries. There have been some fascinating things going on with libraries in the United States. In Midland County, Texas, I guess George Bush's home county has done some really, really cool things that we may want to consider in the not too distant future. The last thing I want to mention is the giant tech white paper policy thing that I've been working on. I'm going to delay the release of that by about a week. There's just some things on it I want to tighten down before I actually get it to you all. It's about 97% complete, but I want to knock out that last portion so it's where it needs to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hallman. Supervisor Underhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On your desks today, I had the clerk put a letter from the Oktoberfest work group. The Oktoberfest is September 14th in Paddock Lake, Old Settlers Park. And basically the reason for this letter is we're looking for donations from you, supervisors. We've had other donations from supervisors in the past and some other elected officials. And basically the biggest reason we're asking is we lost one of our biggest contributors, Tom Paddock. The event is Wiener Dog races, of course. We have two bands, German dancers and beer. There'll be German beer and local beer, and fireworks at the end of the night. And basically what you get for your donation is your name in the brochure and your name in front of the bandstand. So if anybody wants to contribute, my name's and phone number's on here, and Marlene Goodson, the former president of Paddock Lake, is on there too. So contact either one of us, and let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Underhill. Seeing no other lights, we'll move on with the agenda.
County Executive Appointments, Jim Huff to serve on the Kenosha County Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
Andy Bueller to serve as the representative of the Department of Planning and Development on the Kenosha County Land Information Council.
Refer to the PDEC Committee.
Michael Skalitsky to serve on the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission.
Refer to the PDEC Committee.
Policy resolution from the Executive Committee, a resolution regarding the sale of alcohol on county golf courses. Gens, yes. Kubicki, yes. Rose, yes. Elverman, yes. Hallman, yes. Esposito, yes. Brunig, yes.
Supervisor Alverman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd move policy resolution number 1.
Resolution number 1's been moved by Supervisor Alverman, seconded by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Alverman.
Mr. Chairman and fellow supervisors, over the years, in fact decades, the county has, as a good cost of living to the local residents, provided the golf courses. We have the 2, Petrifying Springs and Brightondale Golf Course. And over the years, and in many of our times, those of us that have been here for a while, things went very well. Economically, did not cost the county taxpayer. Things paid for themselves, and things were going well. With the economic downturn in the, say, 2006, 2007, we noticed a downturn, and the county government noticed a downturn in our revenues at the county golf courses. What we had done previously, in, say, the early 2000s, was began beer sales at the county golf courses. In the first year that we initiated that, there was a $75,000 increase in revenues at Brightondale alone. That was something that pumped new revenue into a downturn in revenue for the golf courses. Since that time, we've all seen a downturn. We've seen 8 to 10 years of losses at the county golf courses. Recent years, the last 2, we've seen an uptick. We have a new crew as far as the grounds. We have a new administration crew. We have a new director, and their promotions have brought this back, along with the weather. What we're looking for here with this resolution is to look at our courses. If you're familiar with Brightondale, if you're familiar with the Petrifying Springs course, you have 2 beautiful venues just standing out there in a parking lot. When you look at Brightondale, we have numerous I'm trying to think of the leagues, excuse me, that play there. We have people that come out for tournaments that play there. And one of the biggest things we heard over the years, and something that's been under discussion, has been, you know, we'd like to hold our after league dinner there, or we'd like to even possibly hold a wedding at one of the golf courses. You go out to Brightondale in the early evening and you consider it for a wedding or wedding reception, you can picture it when you're out there. You go out to Petrifying Springs, the same thing. We have people that have requested this and have told us right up front, you know, we would be there. We would be there with our banquet. We would be there with many, many things if the golf courses and the county could offer an alcoholic beverage, a cocktail, when people have a tournament, when people have a nice dinner. I've been there for the county executives, and the dinner is beautiful. Well, you can have a beer. If a guy wants to have a drink after, you just can't do it. So people do not schedule certain things at our golf courses. You have an argument from many people that we shouldn't be in the business, but people, we are in the business. So what we're talking about here is to take the venue that we have and take it to the to the potential that's there. What this resolution does is authorize the county to go to RFPs, and the RFPs would be for a private vendor to operate our beverage business at the golf courses. And that could be expanded through this RFP to also handle the food service. It's been discussed numerous times. The executive committee thought it's finally time to take it here and get the RFPs, see what we can do. So we are definitely asking for your approval for this, but it's something that has been thought out for many years, and something from a business sense that makes perfect sense. So ask for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Alverman. Supervisor Molinaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have just a couple of comments. First of all, I support the resolution. It is time, it's been time for a long time that we evaluate and look to move forward with sales at the golf course. So I applaud the committee that's coming forward. I'd love to see this move quickly, but I have my reservations. Before I talk about the reservations about the RFP, let me say this. In the third whereas, this language just troubles me. I won't make much of an issue out of it, but there's been an awful lot in the news as of late, and we're all aware of why. There's an awful lot in the news on a regular basis, and I think we're all generally aware of why, relative to discrimination, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest that 1936 was a very long time ago. I see no value, no purpose served by referencing the fact that in 1936 there was discrimination at most of the golf courses in this country. At some point in time, I think you say 1936 was yesterday and today is today. I see no value to that language, and that just continues to perpetuate and cause the issues in my mind that we have in large part throughout this country. A little bit of commentary that's personal to me, but thought I'd share it. We heard tonight that we can't get a realtor for the sale of the Ewell House. We see here in this resolution that we're going to draft an RFP. This county needs to do a better job of crafting RFPs that fit the need. I can just imagine what the RFP was for the realtor for the Ewell House. I've heard this complaint over and over again. Our RFPs are phenomenally cumbersome for Kenosha County. We need a simple engagement letter to sell the Ewell House. What's your fee? What are you going to do for us? Submit it, we'll evaluate it, and we'll hire somebody. There isn't any reason on earth we couldn't have found a realtor to put that property on the market. Because to do it, they stick a sign in the front yard. And then every realtor across the country goes to the MLS and they split the fee, right? It's pretty simple. I'm assuming, I'd bet I'm pretty close to being accurate, that our daunting RFP is what precluded us from finding someone to sell that property or get engaged with us to sell that property. I don't want the same fate to happen here. So somehow the message has to get to our purchasing department that crafting an RFP to construct a $16, $20, $30 million addition to the public safety center is not the same RFP that we need to go out and hire a realtor, is not the same RFP we have to find someone to sell alcohol on the golf courses. I don't know what to tell you, Supervisor Elverman, but I certainly hope we're going to take a close look at this. I will personally have a conversation with the county executive. I've got something on the calendar with him, if not this week or next. This is just too important to have it come back to us and say, geez, we didn't get any responses, we'll go back out. We'll put the same cumbersome language back out, if that's in fact the case. So let's get creative if necessary, draft something that is a win-win for both parties, that does not overly daunting to submit a proposal, We're not asking big corporations here to come in and set up a partnership with us to sell alcohol on the golf courses. We're talking about relatively small business that we just heard about this evening, located in Kenosha County, who are going to participate in this effort. Let's recognize that and get something done that works. Support the resolution tonight. It is long overdue, but let's make an effort to get somebody on board here in a way that isn't overly complicated. Corporation Counsel, I see the chairman talking to him. Bernie, I don't know where to go with this thing, but how can we not find a realtor to sell a structure? I know how we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Molinaro. Supervisor Skalitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Am I directing questions to you because you are the chairman of the executive committee, or am I directing questions?
Well,
okay.
He might know, they might know a little bit further of the background, but you can direct them to me,
Okay.
and I can go to them if I
want to commend the executive committee for coming up with a unique and perhaps not prior thought of approach to this. But first it was an RFP for liquor sales, and then of course I read in here about food sales. Is the RFP or the idea that we're going to outsource both
Yes.
beverage and food?
Yes.
Okay. Is there going to be an impact to any county employees? Has that been discussed?
What do you mean by impact on county?
Well, right
employees?
now, we've got county employees handling those portions. If you're turning it over to a private entity, will they utilize those employees? Will they utilize their own employees? Will we be displacing somebody? If this changes...
I don't think anybody's going to be displaced by it, but anybody who would come in and bid on it would want to use their people, I would assume. And we don't offer banquets now. We don't have staff set up to do that, if I'm correct, Supervisor Alverman. I mean, that's not something we do right now.
So when we're talking about the possibility of food service, that would be if someone came in and took over the whole thing. Right now, the RFP, and if you is looking at someone to take over, since we cannot provide Class A alcohol by state statute. So we're looking for that, and then the RFP would also include food service. And the food service would be our lunch counters and things if they took over the whole thing. What we would have in the language with a final applicant could necessarily be that they used our people. But our people in our food service, if you follow what we do out there, are very few full-time employees.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Are very few full-time employees.
Very few, if any, full-time employees.
Most of summer, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
But there are a couple. I just want to make sure that was in consideration.
I haven't read an RFP because we're just looking at getting an RFP.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Supervisor Skalitsky. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Supervisor Alverman. Dennis, if I understand this correctly, the verbiage in this policy resolution would cover not only special events such as weddings, gatherings, and so forth, but also just routine beverage service that would service, say, the golfing clientele that would be there for liquor. Is that the intent of this?
Beer cart daily, which would also have if I'm understanding this, you'd also have other alcoholic drinks.
Okay.
And it would cover any weddings, special events. It would give the golf courses a Class A liquor license.
For their routine patrons, so in the clubhouse, they could have a bar set up if it was run by an outside vendor, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Second question to follow up on that. If that were to be the case, what is the intent of the administration at this point? To retain beer sales by the county or to farm them out as well?
At this point, to my knowledge, the administration has not been a part of this. This has come from the county board. The county board is desirous of the county golf courses being able to sell Class A alcohol and have these advantages. So the administration has not been involved with this.
So I'll rephrase the question. Do we know if the Operation Golf, as you know it today, would intend upon retaining beer sales, or they would intend upon farming them out?
There would still be beer sales, but I would not fool myself into thinking someone would want to have a contract with the Kenosha County and not have control of everything.
That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Rose.
I want to say just a few words in support of the resolution. I think the Executive Committee did respond to the issues that are often raised about the liquor sale possibility at the golf courses. We were critical of the current RFP process and thus the final whereas clause at page 1, which wanted to encourage all businesses, big or small, to seek out this contract. We indicated the RFP should be user-friendly. In other words, not so complicated that some of the RFPs that have been discussed here at the board, those are the kind of RFPs that discourage small business, and that's probably the kind of business that is going to respond to the liquor license issue. We also, in paragraph number 3, which was referenced by Supervisor Molinaro, placed that in there as a reminder. Why are we in the business at all? Many times people begin to question, well, why is the county competing with private enterprise here, Bristol Oaks, Maple Crest, Kenosha Country Club? And when we've proposed liquor license in the past, they have responded they don't like that we're at some sort of advantage they feel. And this is a reminder to everybody why and how the county got into the golf business in the first place. And I think it's an admirable reminder of that and a good response to those who are critical of why we are competitive with private enterprise. The other issues I think here are dealt with very well. Our intent is to have this commence in 2014. It's too late now, but this will, I think, place the county golf courses on a far sounder financial basis and hopefully avoid some of the dramatic swings in revenue and profit that we have seen and losses in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Anita Johnson.
Actually, Supervisor Rose spoke to the 3rd and 7th clauses that I wanted to say, so thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Johnson. I will just say in response to Supervisor Molinaro, that was a large part of the debate with the RFP and how it would go. I've asked Corporation Counsel to pass on a message to have that come to the Executive Committee, the RFP, before it goes out. We do have time to do that, and I would like to see that because, in my opinion, you get one chance to make a first impression. And if you're throwing something out there that's going to be cumbersome, thinking you can go back a second time, sometimes it's not the way it works. So I do agree, and we did have a concern over something going out that would go out to the maximum number of people that might respond and make it as user-friendly as possible. So that's what I intend to do. Seeing no more lights, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That resolution passes.
Resolution 33 from Supervisor Dodge and Underhill, a resolution to urge the amending of the United States Constitution to diminish the negative effects of corporate money in elections.
Refer to the the Executive Committee on Tuesday.
Claims, Ann M. Burke, revocable trust, deprivation of rights.
Refer to the Corporation Counsel.
Estate of Beta S. Koga, wrongful death.
Refer to the Corporation Counsel.
Stuart L. Sabbath, personal injury.
Refer to the Corporation Counsel.
Approval of the July 16, 2013 minutes by Supervisor Noble.
Supervisor Noble.
I approve the minutes of the July 16th, 2013 meeting.
It's been moved by Supervisor Noble, seconded by Supervisor Ron Freder to approve the July 16th, 2013 minutes. Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. It's been moved by Supervisor Arrington, seconded by Supervisor Underhill to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.